Hey everyone, it's attorney Matthew Legan Sanchez here. Today let's talk about fighting against false accusations in domestic violence cases. False accusations in domestic violence cases, they commonly arise with toxic and troubled relationships. So if your relationship, if it's on the edges, if you're having problems, then you should be on high alert about false accusations occurring. They commonly arise when there's custody disputes. They commonly arise when family court involvement is on the horizon, and they commonly arise when your relationship is just hanging by a thread and is about to fall apart. That's when false accusations commonly come up. The first way to protect yourself against false accusations is just to stay out of the ring. Sometimes in life, you win a fight by staying out of the ring. Does your relationship have more highs and more lows than a daytime soap opera? Are you constantly texting each other? Are you over involved? Are your text messages or your messages, are they highly emotional? Are you getting at each other in your text messages? This is a good sign that false accusations might arise. If your ex is claiming, I'm gonna get the court involved, I'm gonna get sole custody, I'm gonna win in family court, I'll see you in family court. If you're constantly getting this in a text message, you're like, you can expect that a false accusation of domestic violence may not be far away. So if you have a troubled, if you have a toxic relationship, stay out of the ring. Disconnect. Disconnect from your ex. Be as minimal as possible in text messages. Keep it short and sweet. I like to say 3 strikes and you're out. With a text message or message, keep it short, 3 sentences. You're in, you're out. Communication is as limited as possible. Consider having a third party present. If you suspect that false accusations are looming, and you probably do if you're watching this video, then have a third party present. Possibly consider having your exchanges done at neutral corner or APN, which can be inexpensive and it can be difficult, but at least you're gonna have a guarantee of someone there watching the exchange. Consider having a family member present. Consider having a loved one present. This loved one, family member, APN, they can corroborate, they can substantiate your side of the story if there's false accusations. Otherwise, you may find yourself in a position where it's one person's word against the other person's word. And at that point, if your ex comes across as more believable than you're gonna have some problems. So if your ex is a sociopath, if they're the sort of person who's a smooth criminal and can lie eloquently under oath, and you're, more marbled mouthed than your ex, you're gonna have some problems if you end up in court and it's your word versus the other, because your hearing officer judge will be watching you, and your shyness, your inability to talk in public, being scared talking in public, that may come across as that you're lying or you're not trustworthy. So consider having a third party present. Also, consider having a ring camera. It's coming up more and more in cases that I see, domestic violence restraining order cases. One person will raise a false accusation. They'll claim, my ex or my current boyfriend, girlfriend, they abused me. And it turns out there was a ring camera and it was capturing everything that was going on. Very recently, I've seen a false accusation turn from the offensive to defensive real quick when my client had a ring camera, captured the event, and the her statements were completely false. Ring camera captured absolutely everything, turned him from being on the defensive to the offensive, turned a restraining order possibly being entered against my client to another person. So consider that. Consider having a ring camera present in common areas. If you commonly interact in your driveway, your front lawn, consider having a ring camera that captures it all. If you interact in your living room, consider having a ring camera there. That could be the saving grace for fighting against false accusations and turning it to where they're at bat to you're at bat and you're swinging for a restraining order potentially. absolutely never mention self-harm. Never joke about self-harm. Never even make a vague statement like, sometimes I wish I was dead, or sometimes I wish it would all end. Especially if you have a gun, especially if you have a drug or an alcohol problem, especially if you have a mental health issue or an arrest history. Do not mention, do not joke, do not vaguely talk about self-harm at all. That is a huge red flag, especially in restraining order cases. And that can be the tipping point that turns a false accusation into a restraining order being entered. So absolutely never, it's a no-no, do not mention self-harm. And if you are contemplating self-harm, if you're having suicidal ideation, if you're thinking about self-harm, if you're self-medicating, you really need to speak with a mental health professional. There's a suicide hotline. If you look it up on Google, it will come up. You need to speak with someone. Another aspect of family court cases, with custody cases, if you're getting treatment, if you acknowledge a problem and you're seeking treatment, the judge is going to work with you. Judges don't like it when parents come in and they just deny, no, that didn't happen. No, I don't have a problem. If you do have a problem, if you need treatment, seek that treatment, and it's going to be a proactive move in your case that can actually help you. It can be a humanizing aspect. It can endear you with your judge, and it can be beneficial. So seek help if you need help, absolutely. Do you still have questions about protecting yourself against false accusations with a restraining order, with domestic violence? If so, you need to speak with an experienced restraining order attorney, domestic violence attorney. If you have a custody case, if it's involving children, then you especially need to speak with an experienced family law attorney that understands both custody and restraining orders or domestic violence, because the two combine. Speak with me, speak with attorney Matthew Legan Sanchez. I have the experience that you need. I'll listen to your issue. We'll get to the bottom of your case, and we'll see how to move forward as best as possible for you. Call 505 Sanchez today.